What's up everybody, it's Ben and welcome back to another video. Now I'm currently still a college student, but even I'm trying to retire as soon as I possibly can, and if you're watching this video, I'm sure you're trying to do the same thing. So today, I'm going to be breaking down some specific habits that you must have if you're trying to retire young, and also I'm going to be giving you some specific figures for how much you need to save and to have saved in order to retire. So if you do enjoy today's video, I would really appreciate it if you would smash that like button below and subscribe to the channel if you're new. The first thing that you need to be doing if you want to retire as soon as you possibly can is what I call the 50-10-40 rule. Now you may have heard of the famous 50-30-20 budgeting rule, which basically states that 50% of your income goes towards your expenses like rent or food, 30% goes towards things that you want like vacations or fancy clothes, and 20% goes towards your savings. So I've put my own little tweak on this rule that will 100% help you to retire several years faster than somebody using the 50-30-20 rule. And this is that 50% of this income still goes towards your expenses like rent and food, because these are things that you can't really get around, so you're going to need to put a set amount of your income towards it. However, the key difference here is that only 10% of your income would go towards things you want, which would mean living more frugally and taking less vacations. And lastly, 40% of this money would go towards your savings and your investments. So I'm sure that you can see the massive difference in how much you would be saving and investing using this 50-10-40 rule compared to the 50-30-20 rule, and this will help you to accumulate a higher net worth significantly faster. With that being said, I'm a very strong believer in the fact that every day is a gift, and it's important to enjoy life because you never know when it's going to end, so you still have that 10% little wiggle room to have some fun as well. However, if you do want to retire early, unless you're making 6 figures a year, you're going to have to make some sacrifices in your life. Now, before you begin investing in your retirement fund, I strongly recommend that every single person build an emergency fund. This emergency fund should consist of 6 months of regularly incurred expenses, including things like rent, food, etc. So this emergency fund is there basically just as a little buffer space in case an unexpected accident occurs, like a car accident or you get laid off, so that you don't have to go into debt and you have the cash available in case you need it. So once you have this emergency fund set up and fully funded and you're ready to set up your retirement fund, I strongly suggest that you go and talk to a local investment advisor. And this is because your age will have a huge effect on how much risk you should be taking when you're investing. And if you're an amateur investor and immediately jump headfirst into the stock market, you could end up losing a ton of money before you even realize what is happening. And this leads me to the second thing that you must be doing if you want to retire as soon as you possibly can, and that is to start investing now. The key here is investing, and many people may tell you that investing is risky and to just save your money instead, and that is true that all investments do carry some amount of risk. However, if you do become educated on what you're actually investing in and consult a local investment advisor, you will be eliminating a lot of this risk. And this is considering the fact that you'll be making an investment plan that is tailored for your specific needs. Now, it's very important to begin investing as soon as you possibly can due to a concept called compounding interest. Compounding interest is when you invest a sum of money over time. If you don't withdraw your gains, then the money that you have gained will hypothetically begin to make you even more money. If you haven't heard this concept before, this may be a little bit confusing, so here's an example to help you understand better. So hypothetically, if you invested $10,000 in any investment that gave you a 10% annual return, in approximately 8 years, that investment would turn into $20,000. 8 years later, if you didn't invest another penny or withdraw any of your funds, your portfolio would have doubled again to $40,000. And this is because the $10,000 in profit that you made from the first 8 years from investing would have doubled as well. And this is why it is extremely important for you to begin investing your money as soon as you possibly can, because the more time that you have, the more money that you would hypothetically make. And this leads me to the third thing that you must be doing if you want to retire early, which is to work smarter, not harder. So it's pretty obvious that the more income that you make, the easier it will be to retire early because you'll have more money to save. And this is why you really need to be dedicating as much free time as you possibly can to making more income. Now, I completely understand the fact that you may be a full-time student or working a full-time job, so if you have some extra time in the evenings or on the weekends, I really encourage you to start up a side hustle. And the side hustle that I really see that has the most potential is starting a business. And this is because it could be so many different things depending on what you personally enjoy. For example, if you work in an office but you really enjoy hands-on work and creativity, you could start up your own home remodeling business on the side. This way, you would be doing what you love to do anyways, and you may be even bringing in a couple extra $1,000 a month to go towards your retirement fund. Not to mention, if you just enjoy being an entrepreneur and everything is going well in your business, you may even be able to make the jump to doing this business full-time and retire off of the income from that eventually. But the thing is here, if you take your business full-time and you end up just making enough to get by in life, I personally would rather enjoy what I'm doing with my life and retire a couple of years later compared to working a job that I hate and retiring a couple years sooner. Now, that is just my personal preference, and starting a business is naturally risky, especially if you're starting up a company like a clothing brand, which requires a lot of money up front for inventory and marketing costs. But if you start up a service-based business like a marketing company, all you really need is your time and a laptop. With that that being said though, the inherent risk of starting a business is one of the reasons why I suggest you start it as a side hustle and not a full-time thing right off the bat. If you start your business before you quit your full-time job, you can learn the ropes of this business and figure out if you even like doing this or not. This way, you'll always have a backup plan where you can just stop doing this business eventually if you don't like it, and you'll have enough money to support yourself and to contribute to your retirement. So now that we've gone over a few habits and tips to retire as soon as you possibly can, let's go over some exact figures for how much you'll need to retire based off of your age and your lifestyle. So in order to retire around age 40, there's a little bit of controversy for how much money you'll actually need to do so, but as long as you don't live in a super expensive area or have a super expensive lifestyle, a good rule of thumb is probably around $2 million. However, if you retired around age 65, you would really only need around $1 million, and this is because of the obvious fact that if you retire at age 40, you will need a lot more funds to support yourself for longer than if you retire at age 65. With this $2 million, you could very easily spend around $50,000 every single year for 40 years without having to worry about running out of money. However, the thing here is that nobody really knows when they're going to die, so you don't really know how much money you need because you don't know how long you'll need to support yourself. However, if you have a more expensive lifestyle or live in a more expensive area and you think you're going to end up spending more than $50,000, it will be extremely important for you to stay on top of your finances when you're retired so that you don't have a moment where you're like, oh crap, I'm going to run out of money and there's nothing I can do about it. It's also important to keep in mind the fact that at age 62, you can begin to draw your Social Security benefits, which will be a huge help with not running out of money. So in order to have $2 million at age 40, you would need to be investing approximately $3,650 every single month from age 22. Now this is an exorbitant amount of money and is just plain unrealistic for most people. So if you do want to and plan on retiring around age 40, you're going to need to be investing as much as you possibly can now. On top of that, you're going to need to be ready to live a very frugal life, considering the fact that that $2 million figure was really only if you wanted $50,000 a year. So if you think that you could live off of just $25,000 a year, then you would really only need $1 million saved, which is a lot more realistic for most people. Another more realistic goal, depending on your income, would be to set a goal to retire at age 50 instead of age 40. So if you wanted this $2 million figure at age 50 instead of age 40, you would need to be investing $1,250 a month at a 10% annual return starting at age 22. Now when you compare this $1,250 a month compared to this $3,650 a month, you can really see the difference on how attainable this is and the power of compounding interest. So depending on how much your lifestyle costs, your personal goals, and your income will all play major roles in how much you need to save for your retirement. So because of this, in the description of this video, I will actually leave a link to a compounding interest calculator so you can figure out how much you need personally. So once you click the link and get to this calculator, simply put in how much money you have available to you to invest every single month when you plan on retiring, which would simply be your estimated retirement age minus how old you currently are, and how much of a return on investment you approximate that you will make every single year, which for the stock market is around 10%. I really do hope that every single one of you guys was able to get something out of this video. It is a little bit hard to give you guys specific figures on how much you need to save every month and have saved total in order to retire, and this is because each and every one of you guys is different in how much you can save depending on your income and how old you are. But I do hope that you guys did get a little bit of a better understanding of how much you need to invest for your retirement and the importance of why you need to start investing ASAP. If you did enjoy this video, please do hit that like button below and subscribe to the channel if you're new. It really does mean a ton to me, and I hope to see each and every one of you guys in the next video.